Hello and welcome to the featured discussion for 12 July 2021. My name is Harsh Singh, and in this discussion we will cover the role of cooperatives in COVID times. India has formed a new Ministry of Cooperation, envisaging the dream of Sahkar se Samriddhi. What is Sahkar se Samriddhi? Sahkar means collaboration. So prosperity through cooperation. This is the main vision under which we have formed a new ministry. So remember this keyword Sahkar se Samriddhi, prosperity through cooperation. And this ministry is to aid the objectives of fundamental rights and directive principles of state policy. So quickly we will get into what the fundamental rights and DPSP states. 97th Amendment Act of 2011, it stated that we will have a new DPSP which talks about Article 43B. It mentions, very clearly mentions, that the state will promote the formation of democratic control and professional management of cooperative societies. And along with that, there was also an introduction of a fundamental right in Article 19. In Article 19, we had an introduction of formation, association or union or cooperative societies. So cooperative society was added to Article 19(1)(c), right? So in provision of providing these fundamental rights and the directive principles, the government ensured that the Parliament passed an important act which created a new Ministry of Cooperation, right? Now here we will understand what are the various segments of this cooperative society. Now this is where we will understand what is the meaning of cooperative. Cooperative means we have individual members, each member, right, participating in it, and there will be an ease of doing business by participation of each member. Also they will have economic, social contribution as well, right? This is the basic meaning of cooperatives. So it is going to be a people-centered enterprise. Any movement will be a people-centered enterprise, and there will be common economic and social benefits, also cultural and personal aspirational as well, right? Now to envisage this, Cooperative Society Act was also passed previously, but now we have a separate ministry to ensure that this whole process is decentralized. Cooperatives have been placed in state list, and now we have a central act to ensure that the provisions of cooperatives are followed. So this is the basic thing about cooperatives. We have got four important types of cooperatives. The first one is consumer cooperative societies, so where the consumer interests are taken care of. Then we have producer cooperatives, for example farm producer organizations, right? So they take care of the producers needs and their rights, right? And then we have cooperative marketing societies, right? Example, TriFed, NAFED. TriFed is for tribals, NAFED is for agriculture. So they ensure that the products which are created, they are marketed well in India and abroad, right? So these societies take care of the needs and requirements of the individual stakeholders, right? People who participate, artisans, farmers, fertilizer producers, etc., right? We have IFCO as well, right? So another multi-stakeholder cooperative body, all right. And then we have the fourth type, which are cooperative credit societies. So all of them ensure that the individual needs, as I explained here in the definition of cooperatives, the individual needs are taken care of. Along with that, the participation and economic, social, cultural and individual aspirational values. So this is what is the basic meaning of cooperatives. But have you ever thought, do we actually need a cooperative society, a cooperative ministry for India? Do we? So we must come across a heading where we should talk about how significant is the contribution of cooperatives in India. Now, supposing India's population is 100, 30 of India's population around resides in the urban areas and 70 of it resides in the rural areas. Urban area is largely managed through economic system, capital economic system, right? But the rural India needs support of the government. Social sector movements are important. Government schemes also focus towards rural India, right? And this is where we need the decentralized participation of people, right? So especially for rural community development, the 70% population needs their participation. We need to understand what are their economic needs, what are their social cultural aspirations, right? And they can be different at all the places, right? What we require at Kerala may not be required at Jammu and Kashmir, and therefore we need cooperative participation in all the different sectors and spheres of the country, and therefore we need decision making, right? The local economy to participate. And how can it happen? It can happen through cooperative societies. So it is required, especially for rural development, right? How about social integration, right? If we ensure that the locals participate, you will ensure that you find all castes participate, all religions participates, all sections of the community, females also participate, right? We will come to know how cooperatives are important parameters for development of female empowerment in the region, right? So social integration happens through the development of cooperatives in the country, right? Employment, now through each of them, through rural development, through social integration, the most important facet of it will be economic development, participation in economic activities, and then remuneration to the people who are participating. So these are important participants here. Also you can see dairy, banking, farming, marketing, all of them will have stakeholders, all of them will have participants, and hence they will be also receiving remuneration and income through it. So this is an important component of it: social integration, rural participation, and employment support, right? And we have seen this during the times of pandemic, how cooperatives have helped through and through. For example, see, private hospitals are the ones which make profit, right? However, we have had non-profit private hospital participation as well, non-profit hospital participation as well, right? We have also covered this in Snapshot previously. So in Kerala, right, the targeting of the COVID virus and reaching out to the beneficiary was done through cooperative health model as well. So Kerala helped in that way. Financer in need, right? Now without exploiting the person in need, one can finance through cooperative model as well. We just studied those kind of credit agencies, cooperative credit agencies, right? Oxygen supply, many cooperatives during these times have helped in the supply of oxygen. Example is IFCO, example is Mulukanur Women Cooperative Dairy. They have helped in participation by supplying oxygen, right? Providing essentials, right? What is Amul? It is a cooperative society, right? NAFED, MilkFed, they all are cooperatives who have ensured that essential supplies do not get restricted during times of COVID, right? Food provisioning. So community kitchen, what is a community kitchen? Community kitchen is run by cooperatives itself, right? So they have played a very important role at the grassroots management of the pandemic, right? And center of it comes the role of women, right? Because if women are the participants, it ensures the participation of almost 50% of the nation, and especially the rural areas. This helps in empowering the family level economics as well. So therefore we need a stronger participation from the cooperative movement as well, and that is why we have a ministry for it, right? However, this is not free of challenges. There are some challenges and vulnerabilities for the Ministry of Cooperation as well. For example, financial crunch. Now, even if we provide them a political support, if we don't have a budget for them, they will not be able to effectively function. So financial crunch, especially during the times of financial downturn, that is the impact of COVID, right? Efficient staff. Now, efficient staff can be linked to the functional weakness. If we don't have participants who know budgeting, who don't know how to keep accounts, who don't know the exact functioning of an organization, they can work well individually. However, they don't understand the dynamics of working in an organization. They have not received training, and that is how efficient staffing is required. And this is a pain point for the Ministry of Cooperation, right? Unbalanced growth, right? We have seen that cooperatives work well at all the places, but they are not equally developed at all the places. Kerala has a well-developed cooperative model, but what about the states in the eastern India, Bihar, Odisha, West Bengal? Now they need more empowerment. So unbalanced growth, this is where we need the participation of cooperatives, right? And then we have federalism concerns. Now see, we already understood that cooperative has been mentioned as a state subject, and now we have passed a central law here. So they can be federal issues relating to both of them. Center and state tussle between who will be the one deciding on these issues. Loss of autonomy, right? So once we have passed a law which is controlled by the center, this can also impede on the autonomy of the cooperatives. How? The cooperative movements are already running at various segments in India, and if we have passed a central law, they will directly also control, right, the cooperatives. So this is another losing of autonomy of the cooperative bodies. Political gains. Now see, this is very important. Now whenever elections to corporate bodies happen, they happen free and fair, right? And there is no influence of political parties. It is based on individual. A person doing well will win the election through voting process. However, if there is an influence of political parties, these cooperatives also will have a political agenda, which is not desirable, right? So therefore political gains will be there, but they will have to be minimized, right? So this is one important concern for the Ministry of Cooperation. Okay. Now, therefore, in this article, what we understood was what is the meaning of cooperation, right? Cooperatives, what is the actual meaning of cooperative? So we understood that it is individual participation and their benefit in social, economic, cultural, and their personal aspirational goals, right? So this is the meaning of cooperative. And we understood what is the need for cooperative in India, right? We understood rural participation, we understood the participation of women and the various social structure, right? So this is the need of participation. In times of COVID, we understood how they participated and helped, right? We also understood the types of cooperatives, like for example producer cooperatives. We understood the consumer cooperatives, right? So these are the various 4 kind of cooperatives we understood. A quick revision of what we studied today. So all you need to do right now is to take a minute off, think about what we discussed right now, jot down the important keywords, and then attempt this question. Explain the need for Ministry of Cooperation in India. What are the issues that need to be addressed during its formation, right? So some issues that we discussed 7 of these issues, right, to be addressed. And what is the need of Ministry of Cooperation in India, right? So we have to orient the features of cooperatives in terms of needs, right? So only a play of language here, right? And your answer will be done. Now one must note, this is an important question for this year examination. Why? Because India has gone ahead to form a separate Ministry of Cooperation, and therefore do focus on this topic. This can be an important potential question for the exam. Thanks for watching.